Alright, start my dialogue right away.
I can keep staring at this, but I won't get any closer.
So yeah, I finished up in the last area we were in. There wasn't much going on, so I just decided to, you know, finish off and all the good stuff.
Something I can help you with?
Yes, possibly. We saw so many Red Templars at the assault on Haven. Perhaps all that was left of the Order. What we didn't see was Lord Seeker Lucius. Indeed, I've seen no hint of any Seekers amongst the Red Templars, or anywhere. I have a growing suspicion Corypheus has imprisoned them.
Why imprisoned? He could just as easily have killed them.
Not easily. But yes, they may be dead. But the Seekers began this war against the mages. They cannot have simply vanished. There must be a trail we can follow, yet so far I have only discovered hints.
Finding them obviously means a lot to you.
I left the Order, but I can never abandon them. I cannot even claim that rescuing them would be beneficial. They wouldn't look kindly on the Inquisition. But even so, if there's a chance... If we can spare resources to follow up on these leads, Inquisitor, I would appreciate it.
Well, alright, we shall do so. Looks like there's some stuff we can do on the War Council for that. Have Cullen, Liliana, Josephine investigate. Yeah, I basically wanted to talk to everybody before we move on, just to make sure we don't miss out on any good dialogue there. Before we move on to one of the larger plots. Okay, nice one. Nice one. And Jade cameo.
Crestwood has had no further trouble with the undead.
After what happened, it will take time for the village to recover.
Mr. Spaulding has been sentenced to provide relief to the people. He has purchased supplies from the town, but is having difficulty moving them upriver. Slower but safer sounds good. She wants to move them upriver, so
Inquisitor?
let's try and get some boats going. Find Crestwood's mare. It's like a job for Liliana.
Let's see what we have.
And we got serve any master, which is busy. Suppose a double agent. Play missing seekers. Oh, only Liliana can do it. Damn it! Sorry, I didn't know. After proposal, we might use it.
Inquisitor.
I don't come to regret that. Yeah, the herbs. Alright, we'll leave it off there then. For that. Let's go see if there's any more dialogue options. With Josephine.
Yes?
Nope. Didn't seem to be anything new.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
She seems very abrupt. Do I have a judgment to sit on? No. Alright. So what I'm going to do is going to see if anyone else has got any new dialogue.
What can I do for you, Inquisitor?
Nope. I don't think Solus will have anything new for us either.
Inquisitor.
Oh, he does.
Do you have a moment?
Do you know what I mean? There's so much that you could easily miss if you just carry on with the story.
What were you like before the anchor? Has it affected you? Changed you in any way? Your mind? Your morals? Your spirit?
I don't believe so.
Ah.
Why do you ask?
You show a wisdom I have not seen since my deepest journeys into the ancient memories of the Fade. You are not what I expected.
What have I done that's so surprising?
You have shown subtlety in your actions. A wisdom that goes against everything I expected. If the Dalish could raise someone with a spirit like yours, have I misjudged them?
Honestly, not really.
I don't hold the Dalish up as perfect, but we have something worth honoring. A memory of the ancient ways.
Perhaps that is it. I suppose it must be. Most people act with so little understanding of the world, but not you.
So what does this mean, Solus?
It means that I respect you deeply, Inquisitor.
Oh.
And I have disturbed you enough for one evening.
Oh, wow. Hope we didn't mess that up. Didn't get any approval or disapproval. And it's left us all the way up here. Let's see if he's got a follow-up to that. I'm just curious. I'll try to keep this brief, but kind of important, this story.
Good afternoon.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Still not very friendly. Oh well. And we were straight up with him, you know, you can't judge an entire people like that. Let's see what Kielan has to say.
Inquisitor?
Are you with anyone?
Is there anything I should know?
Sarah brought me a piece of cake. She thought I looked hungry.
Why are you telling me this?
Because it was either an act of kindness or a trap. I was hoping you knew which.
There's something I wanted to ask you.
Oh?
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face.
He does.
Bad for my health.
Yes, it is. It's bad for your health, mate. Shouldn't take life so seriously.
You were away from Ferelden for 10 years. Was it strange being back there again?
Strange? No. If anything, the opposite. I was not sorry to leave Ferelden when I did. I had no desire to return. But leaving Haven was more difficult than I would have imagined. Not just because Corypheus forced it upon us. It felt like I was abandoning my home. I never thought I'd feel that way again.
I'm just asking because we never ask these questions, so...
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkthorn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
Ooh.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between mages and Templars fell apart, an apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
What happened between Kirkwall's mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order, but Red Lyrium had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion, turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. But I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
I'll let you return to your work.
Should you require anything, I'll be here.
So no new dialogue there. Got some companions to get very little dialogue with so far. I don't think there's anything around here.
Thank you.
Your worship, sir.
What was that? Cabinet of Wonder, whose it was. Stuff, I don't know. Stupid sword.
Your wish is something, something.
I wonder why it keeps giving me those options. I guess it hasn't cemented me with anyone yet.
Are things playing out the way you expected?
Cassandra laid it out, right? You're the big hat now. Gonna make everything the way it should be. The praying's nice, I suppose. Corypheus bit, though. Shite.
I'll be back if I need you.
Go on.
Yeah, Iron Bull especially doesn't give us anything, so... I guess we haven't done much for him.
How's it going?
Yeah, I got like
See you
literally
later.
zero.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Seems happy enough.
Inquisitor?
We've already discussed all this before.
Can we talk about the Bull's charges?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
There was the time with the spiders. Big old beast had taken over some Navaran lady's winter estate, with a full season to lay eggs.
Ugh.
Hanging from the chandelier, scuttling over the tapestries, webbing up the bath. Don't really have a story about it. It's just a lot of spiders.
We'll talk later.
Okay, so I think that's it pretty much. And of course we talk a lot with this.
Inquisitor. I have to go.
Lovely character. See if Cassandra's got nothing more. I doubt it though. She wants us to do that thing for her. There's what's his name is in the stables, I believe. And there's also what's his name? But yeah, I'm basically getting ready to go to the next stage of the story.
Yes?
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
How do the Wardens deal with archdemons?
Short answer. Stick it with swords until it stops moving.
I'll trust that you know what you're talking about.
We'll manage, if it comes to that.
Have you been hearing the calling too?
I know what Corypheus is. He has no sway over me.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There are still Darkspawn. Just because we kill so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me.
So we've got a little bit of dialogue there, and that slightly approves. So better than nothing. Let's just check with the casters and such.
It wasn't so bad today. The cook was in a jolly mood. She didn't shout at all, even when I dropped the ladle.
Oh yes, we've been in here before. Such a cool room. Yeah, there's Josephine. Huh. Okay, I know where we are now. I need to go upstairs though.
Inquisitor?
I think it's up here. Oh yeah.
Questions.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Popular topic. Anything specific?
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce their Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true Divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Hmm.
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
Mm.
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the South. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Hmm.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
Hmm.
That's true. I feel the same.
My, someone's full of themselves, aren't they?
Yeah.
I was just agreeing with you.
Don't agree on my account. A little doubt wouldn't harm the Herald of Andraste. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything.
I thought that was a
The world
trap.
is bigger
Damn
than
it.
I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Hmm. I don't like that. Where did we save? I think it was a while ago. Hang on. Alright, so I made a decision there against my better judgment. For some reason I went against what I wanted to do.
Questions,
So I'm retconning. Yeah, sue me. Sometimes I regret not going with my gut and things.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Popular topic. Anything specific?
I'll try and skip the stuff we've
There's
read
an
before.
Imperial Chant.
You? If you mention him outside... But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version...
Is the...
Not in... Back home. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but...
There...
We don't... We...
They don't use...
Ha! They what? Mostly they enforce their
I've seen all
magisterium's
this before,
edicts.
so...
Do you...
It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste.
What?
It's not down. So we elected a man as divine. The South.
So,
All the. Don't think. Same reason you never see a man on the sun.
do you...
It might. It is a. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
You are a fool. Hmm.
I'm not sure about that myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
Just...
Oh, not at all.
not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
Wow.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
Well, we don't have slaves in the south.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
I'm gonna say
You
that's
know
it.
where I'll be. Something you need?
I guess that's
I
it.
should go.
Naturally.
Well, we didn't get disapproved, so. But yeah, that was a tough conversation.
It doesn't surprise me you found the Wardens mixed up in all this. From first-hand experience, you should be wary any time my old order is involved.
You were once a Grey Warden.
Mine is an unusual circumstance, Inquisitor. Normally one is part of the Order until death. But long ago I found myself stripped of what made me a Warden. They tried to reinitiate me, but nothing worked. Nor could they figure out how it happened. So I was sent to the Circle of Magi, the first Warden ever to be kicked out. Quite the achievement.
You sound happy about it.
Becoming a Warden seemed like a dream when I was first conscripted. Towards the end, however, my brothers and sisters, they felt I had somehow cheated death. I was glad to leave. It also made me unique in the Circle. I had an opportunity to do more than I ever could as a Warden.
You mean you began the Mage Rebellion?
I pushed for our vote to free the Circles of Magi. But I cannot claim sole responsibility for what followed. Still, despite all the chaos, I would do it again. What happened had to happen.
You're not still the Grand Enchanter then?
Any claim I had to the title ended along with the Circles of Magi, although some still call me by it. Perhaps the Circles will one day be resurrected. If so, another will take the position. Until that time, I lead my fellow mages by default. I will do what I can for them.
I've been meaning to ask, how exactly did the Venatori take control in Redcliffe?
Mages constantly found their way to us while we were there. Stragglers, most of them strangers. I had no way of knowing some were actually Tevinter. They spread whispers, encouraged talk of an alliance, and we were desperate. I'm not proud of our choice, but we were certain Templars were coming. It could have ended far worse.
I trust everything is well with the mages.
There have been a few scuffles with your Templars, but overall, it is going well.
I'll leave you to it.
Alright. Turn in research. Haven't done that in a while, have we? Oh, looks like we only had one thing. Oops, brain removed. As Leliana isn't very talkative. Good grief. Still going. Yes.
Inquisitor?
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Me?
Bards tell tales.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
Can you teach me to be a bard?
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics. The ebb and flow of influence. The great game. The Bards is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later.
Alright, I think that's pretty much it. We got Yenna, Varric, we got Vivienne. I seem to remember she's like off to the side somewhere. Not here though. Vivienne like hasn't talked to us at all, which is slightly not a good thing. But she's not easy to get to know, that's for sure.
If you require any assistance, how may I help you?
What are your thoughts about the others in the Inquisition?
I admire Cassandra's determination. If she had a little charm, she could be a remarkable leader. How may I help you?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear. And an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the Circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
What was it like to live in a Circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages. I cannot tell you. Every Circle was different. Their Templars were different, their politics unique. And every person within each tower had an experience of Circle life unique to themselves. Some people suffered and some were content. Some were cruel, some compassionate, and some indifferent. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
So tell me about your personal experience with the Circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And there is comfort to be had, you know, in the company of fellow mages. Those born without magic will never truly understand us.
You must have been under constant supervision, being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the first enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions. Kirkwall was the worst, but it was the exception. Most were quite permissive, perhaps too permissive in retrospect.
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the Circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
If you led all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew.
Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
So we're getting some new dialogue here. This is pretty good.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means, protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
Oh, got some new dialogue there. That was good. Yeah, we can't go any further that way. I think that's it, unless I'm forgetting somebody. There's what's his name, the demon dude, but I haven't seen him around. Where is he now? Eric, Vivian, Josephine, Solus, Dorian, Liliana, Kielan. Oh yeah, Cole. Cole is like on the roof, apparently. And Vivienne is like right outside.
Visitor.
Oh no, she's above us, of course. She's above the doorway. Let's see if we can grab Cole and then we're finally done with the lovely dialogue for today. Yeah, now it's not showing him, but he's like on the roof, I think. He keeps moving around. I think he's up here. I'm not greatly mistaken. He seems to like to move around. Yeah, cool. There he is.
Is anything we can do?
I'm glad you came to talk to me.
I'd like to talk about what happened to you before we met.
Before you, Rhys was my friend. He showed me I was wrong to kill the mages. I thought I was helping them. Then he and Evangeline went to Adamant, and I went with them. I was worried Evangeline would hurt Rhys. We found out dangerous things. It scared Seeker Lambert, and he scared the mages. It started the rebellion. Seeker Lambert told me what I was. Rhys couldn't look at me. I ran until I found more Templars. That's all.
What can you tell me about Rhys?
He was a mage. He saw me when most couldn't, and he remembered. He helped me, and I watched over him. I worried Evangeline would hurt him. She was a Templar, but she didn't like hurting people. When I left, she stayed. Now she watches over him. They should have been with the rebels. Maybe they ran away together instead. Neither of them like killing.
If you like, I could use the resources of the Inquisition to locate your friend.
No. If they are alive and safe, they should stay away. The last time he saw me, he didn't want to look at me. He saw a monster. Let him forget.
You said Seeker Lambert told you what you were.
I'm hiding Reese from him, but he chants words and sees. I won't let you hurt Reese. My nose explodes, a shower of blood. Just another parasite that's wormed its way into our world, feeding off all the things you can't have. What we found at Adamant made him angry. We were the first rock rolling at the top of a mountain. He had to stop us. He killed so many. He didn't care. Cold, corrupt. So I came and killed him.
If you hated Seeker Lambert, why go to the Seeker Fortress?
Because he was right. I was a demon. I saw demons at Adamant. They put people in the dark, in the old hurts. I didn't want to be that. I heard the old songs of the Templars at Val Royeaux and followed them. If I forgot, fought, fell to felling, Templars would kill the demon. I wouldn't hurt anyone again.
What was the Spire like when the Mage Rebellion started?
Dead and dying, begging and bloody. Some wanted freedom, some peace, some war. Some wanted it all to stop. Evangeline was a Templar, but she helped Reese help the others. She set them free. Adrian was a mage, but she killed mages to force the fight. She wanted blood. Reese just wanted to help, to stop people hurting. Maybe that's why he saw me.
What did you mean when you said you killed mages?
Some of the mages at the Spire wanted to die. Too sad, too scared, too much. I didn't know what I was. A ghost, I thought. Fading in the fade. When I came to them, they could see me. I used the knife to set them free. When Reese found out, he made me stop, made me understand. There were other ways to help. I didn't know.
Damn. You're a murderer.
It sounds like you didn't know what you were doing.
No, I killed people. I knew. I just thought I had to. They were hurting, helpless, haunted. It was all I could do. It was wrong. I was wrong. If I start again, you or Cassandra or Cullen need to kill me.
What can you tell me about Adamant Fortress?
It is old, full of sadness and pain. It should be torn down. The veil is thin. We found a demon there. It had touched a man and made him real again. It scared Reese and Evangeline. The man wasn't supposed to be real. Then the demon found us. It put me back in the cupboard on the bad day. Reese and Evangeline saved me.
I'll talk to you later.
Probably. They should have been born together, but instead they were bound by light.
I'd like to talk with you about Templars.
They're heavy with forgotten songs, like Varric. Some of them are too loud. It's hard to stay near them. Cullen is softer, but demons asked questions that hurt him. Evangeline was kinder. I want to explain, but Reese's mother spoke to spirits, but not to him. Then she died for a Templar he loved. Words just bounce off the edges.
What's your general opinion of Templars?
Some like hurting mages. It makes them happy, or less afraid, or dreams again. Woke up shaking, stalking the ground for one who looks like her. Always some rule being broken. But not all Templars listen when whispers crawl around inside them. They try to protect people, like Cullen. The good ones remember that mages are people.
Can you tell me more about how the Templars feel to you?
They feel older than they look. They've been changed, and their bodies are incomplete now. The lyrium helps, but their bodies always want to connect to something older, bigger than they are. That's why they block magic. They reach for that other thing, and magic has no room to come in. Like when I listen to Varric.
Can you tell me more about how the Red Templars are different?
The red lyrium is different, darker, daggers under the skin. It eats you inside until you're nothing.
Lovely.
They hear a different song. The song behind the door old whispers want opened. They are dead and dark and done.
I'll talk to you later.
Probably.
Alright, so we got a new quest. That's excellent. We got 2 new quests out of that.
Maker, I hope it's not me.
And we got some new dialogue as well, so that was definitely worth doing, although it's kind of not the most exciting thing in the world for some people. Especially if you've played the game before, but you know, you'd be forgiven for fast forwarding the dialogues bits. So yeah, let's go back to the map and see if we can do one of these personal questy things. Oh, I've gone to the wrong one. Typical. But yeah, it was interesting. We didn't get an approval from Dorian either way, so that's pointless me retconning my decision, really. Look how it is on the war table. One of them's done. But yeah, we had action last episode, so this episode we got dialogue. That's how it is. It's a role-playing game. Let's see. Coordination, infrastructure. Grants additional 50 XP for each codex entry found.
Crestwood has had no further trouble with the undead.
After what happened, it will take time for the village to recover.
That's great to have. Alright. Another slot for potions. Regiments. Help the people of Serena. I thought we already did that. Okay, well, let's handle that later. Oh yeah, I hadn't done this, of course. Okay, locate Rise and Evangeline.
Inquisitor.
Okay, that's that. This is my little change, and we hadn't done that. But yeah, where's the other one? Yeah, we've got loads here. Serve any master. Find Crestwood's mare. Locate the missing seekers. That's for the one.
Inquisitor.
Okay, let's hope that works.
To work?
Okay, what's that then? Stuff. Let's hope I made the right choices. Alright. So all that remains is to wait and see the results of those two, because that will further our relationship with those particular characters. I do want to continue with the story quest, but only once these are done, because, you know, so far we haven't seen that much stuff that's kind of disappeared as the stories progress, but I don't want to risk it. BioWare has done that to me many times before, so still a bit wary of it. But yeah, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. It's all dialogue this episode, but hopefully you enjoyed the extra dialogue that maybe you didn't see on your playthrough, or maybe you just want to see all the dialogue, you know. But yeah, till next time, guys.